So here we are the morning after, and the cruiser did great. Venango County Fair, again, August 2nd, 2025 was last night, Saturday, first night of their fair. They run the stock features, 4 features. It was an awesome show. And we got down to third. And unfortunately, while it looks like there's a lot left in the front, even though the back, as you'll see, is a little used up, it was a hard-hitting feature. It was a good time. It was a good show. All 4 features were good shows, but the cruiser did awesome. It was down to the last 3 and battling with the Camry. Shout out to Zimmerman. Man, was his Camry hitting hard. Man, those Camrys hit hard, man. They are just hard. And I believe it was a Dodge Stratus that Hetrick, shout out to him. Hetrick and his dad, they derby pretty much most all the derbies in this area, and he was putting on hard hits, and that thing was holding up. And got down to the end, this old girl, both Hetrick and I were starting to get used up, and Zimmerman was still flying around, and my shifter cable broke. I'm almost certain inside the car, not at the tranny. The tranny, I don't believe, is junk or anything like that. I was backing up in reverse as Zimmerman was flying by a dead car and I to hit Hetrick. And whenever I went to pull it from reverse to drive, it just let go. The stick did. And I'm like, I'm almost certain the shifter cable broke. Whenever I looked at the shifter cable inside afterwards, I'm like, it's perfectly fine. It must have broke right at the plastic kind of inside where it mounts. So bit of a unfortunate ending to an awesome run and a good time, but just right there, I think right at the bottom where it attaches, it's just like a plastic, you know, those stock shifters, just like a plastic piece, and I think that's what broke. I had one break before in another car. I don't remember what car it was, but can't complain. It was a good run. It was a fun time, and I think, you know, I don't want to get ahead of my skis here, but we'll take her apart today, and I think that is it. I think up front here, I took a shot. You can see there right at the end from Zimmerman whenever I was backing up and I hit it. Funny enough, it didn't get break in gear. It broke in neutral. As I was going from reverse to drive, it snapped. So I was sitting there and I was still on the clock, and Zimmerman put a hit on me, just cleared the frame rail and got in, busted the one pulley up top and the belt running there. But these cruisers, you know, the back is where, on this year's model, at least I don't know if the new ones are like this, but the back is where the alternator is, and that belt is still fine. So that's good looking at that this morning. But oh, she was tough. You can see the back again. These cruisers, it was a hard-hitting feature. Venango, if you've never been to it, it's not a huge track, but it's a long track, and it's unique for some reason at Venango. A lot of people are able, in pretty much every feature, even the youth. Shout out to Gio, who had an awesome run in the youth. He was just putting on licks. Again, in a Camry. Those Camrys are nasty. As you can see here, the back all folded up. Stock tank, I was getting a little nervous toward the end, and I probably should have went a little bit nose forward quicker at the end as I was starting to kind of drag and the back end was getting beat in, and I still had that stock tank. But the stock tank, that one strap, as the other one was rusted out already, held, no issues there. So again, the cruiser with the stock tank, no issue. But you can see how and again, she's hard. I mean, it was rusted, sure, but she was hard and took a beating, as a lot of people, as I was saying there, they run cross track. So you go from one side to the other with hits. So it's really a track where kind of people say, you know, there's not really anywhere to hide because someone's coming from the other side of the track to rail you if you're just kind of hiding in the corner. So it's really better, not to mention more fun, to be moving the whole time, not kind of sitting on the side, being more patient. And we were moving, and she put on a couple licks, definitely had some licks put on me. Something else I'm pleased to see, and again, the rear wheels here, if you look, they're pretty much perfectly straight, I believe. So while the back is crushed completely in, if that's it, the shifter cable, I'll just beat back, you know, in off the wheels as well as the side, kind of make this as hard as possible, and I'll just take the rubber off of these old rims probably. But the good news is my cruiser last year, that smaller kind of to the rear axle here piece that kind of mounts to the car, it didn't bend on either side. to where my cruiser last year, after the second run, which was a harder hit and run, kind of like this, it was looking like more, it was actually bellying up top more than this one is. You can see how this one's nice and solid up top. It's just the back end here crushed to the wheels. But the wheels are straight, and both of those kind of thinner bars, it's kind of hard to see that one there with the tire, they're straight. So like this right here, you know, is just that kind of rusted out floor area. That's not really important. The kind of unibody that runs in the middle is all fine. So unfortunately, you can see, I don't think I've ever had this happen. I've ran, oh man, what is this? It's going on 7 years now running. I don't think I've ever had both front tires cut down. And I had both front, this front right when I lost fairly early. Ended up, I hit a guy, we hit pretty hard, and it kind of turned me as we both were driving through each other in reverse. And then another guy came before I could kind of get straightened out as he kept pushing on me and just kind of scraped, it was probably this one, along, and he just, as you can see, cut a big chunk out of my tire. So the right front was down fairly early. The back two were down from the get-go, but that was kind of the purpose. And then the left one went down later on. I think it was whenever we were down to the last 3 or 4, I lost it sometime. But she was still driving good. Again, caravan bumper. I mean, took a couple good licks. Zimmerman and I went nose to nose once or twice. Not crazy hard, but certainly hard enough. And again, the last one, whenever I was sitting there in neutral, he cleared that one. So that was the last minute. And you can see here, there's the busted up pulley. Again, these cruisers, this kind of bottom engine mount here, after I ran my first one last year, I actually take a zip tie, or not a zip tie, rather, what do you call it, a ratchet strap, like I have there, and from there to the back corner, kind of pull that in so it stays in. It's just like a small arm, and after you're kind of beating around, it just kind of comes out, and you can see how it popped out, but it'll pop right back in, and that'll be an easy fix. And again, here's, if you can see it, there's the belt that runs off of the inside one back to the alternator, so not an issue there. But yeah, again, the nose is hard. Even, again, didn't go crazy hard, but the bumper, a little bit of a push in here, but frame rails did not move to where my my PT Cruiser last year, it was kind of crinkling in, like literally crinkling in on top of itself at the end. Not really even after that many hard hits. So as you can see, it was a good time. The Cruiser, once again, in my opinion, lives up to a tough, especially stock derby car. I mean, again, she's straight stock. You know, a couple tweaking up front. I took out the core support and looped it, which, by the way, that worked great. Again, about 10 minutes in, probably ran about 18 minutes before I went out. And then, of course, you know, 60, 90 seconds after me's out, the derby's over. That's how it goes when you get down to the end, but can't complain. But that piece there, again, it was steaming out probably about 12, 15 minutes in. Just, again, releasing pressure, venting out. You can see a little bit of steam coming out, but that's exactly what it's supposed to do. So, again, I just cannot encourage you enough. I see a lot of people, they just loop it with nothing. And I'm like, not only is that potentially going to blow your line, but you're not venting any of that pressure, which I can only think adds to the, you know, the pressure, the heat the motor's taking. So it worked great. Everything worked great. Just lost the shifter cable inside, I'm all but certain. So quick look under the hood here. See what we got. And underneath, it looks just like I was hoping. There is nothing, you know, damage, critical damage or anything like that. Again, you know, the caravan bumper did its job. Again, not ideal to leave the stock wiring out here like this, but it's hard to pull the whole kind of harness through and out. However, I did think about doing this last year, and a guy at the Derby actually did this. This right here is fairly thin, so if you know, take your Sawzall or your grinder and cut through here on both sides, above the frame rail, below this kind of extra sheet metal, and pull the line through there. I'll actually probably do that on my next run if I'm able, if it's just that shifter cable inside that's broke, because she's going to be nose forward a lot more in this next run as the back end's starting to get close to where it's going to drag after a while. But yeah, not ideal. But again, excuse me, spray foam, again, I just love to hit it on the outside as you know, start getting pressed in, things like that, especially if you have a ton of wiring like I have here, and it did the job. The only thing that was damaged, and again, I think it was the last hit whenever I hit neutral and was done, whenever this corner got hit, it busted into the power steering, not only the pulley there, which again broke it, but not a big deal, but also it pressed into that line there for the power steering. So I saw something leaking on the ground thing. I'm like, oh, that's not tranny oil, is it? But it was power steering. So not a big deal there, just a little bit harder to turn the next time. But yeah, otherwise, again, everything did what we hoped. That looped line, again, the cruiser, I just turn upside down. I mentioned in my build and final build, that line that runs to the bottom of the radiator, I just turn it around and it angles up perfectly to where this one's already coming down instead of just forward. And then just put, again, that piece in the center, high pressure clamps. She does the job. So again, cannot complain. It was a good time. I didn't mention, shout out to GSP Grandstand Promotion. That's who did Venango County Fair Derby. And I love how they do stock classes. They split, as long as there's enough cars, which there always is, they split the 4 and 6 cylinders. So they call the 6-cylinder class mid-size, and that's where they make the Toyotas, Camrys go, even if it's a 4-cylinder, because they're just so tough. But the 4-cylinder class, and this car is, like, in essence, right at the biggest possible car for a 4-cylinder, excuse me, based on wheelbase. I decided to run with the mid-size. There's a number of reasons why I did, from car count to cars to drivers, etc., freshness, etc. And you know, was it a good decision? I mean, I had a good time. I ran for 18 minutes and I even got down to third. You don't know what would have happened if I would have stayed in the 4-cylinder, as they had 11 cars without me. There was 12 counting me. I think it was the same, or no, it was 10 in the 4s and 11 not counting me, so 12 with me in the 6s. But it was a good time. I cannot complain, but I did end up running her in the mid-size, which is the bigger ones, which is again where I ran into that Camry. So I don't know, maybe it's hindsight's 2020, run into that Camry. But shout out to Zimmerman, shout out to Hetrick, all the drivers there. They put on a great show. Again, the cruiser, good old tough girl. And again, I think it's just the shifter cable inside, as I mentioned. And one last thing I wanted to mention, the battery box did its job. Again, how I bolted in with the existing bolts got a little bit loose, which as you're taking a beating at the end there, the battery box does get a little loose. But everything did what it hoped. So 2002 PT Cruiser, tough old girl, the nice wood. You know, I called that my paint design, so why do I need to paint it, as that thing's already got a stylish look to it. But third at Venango County Fair. Shout out to the Venango County Fair, again, Franklin, PA. It's a good little fair, good derby, good track, and a good time. So we'll inspect her more today, and hoping it's just a shifter kind of piece we need to fix, and hopefully another run. So a little bonus content here. My son jumped in, and shifter cable was moving, but not a lot. Transmission shifting through gears. So I followed the line back, and sure enough, right there, if I can get it to focus, you can see how it's melted through the plastic or the rubber, like outer line. Oh, we're out of focus. But I think / I'm hoping it's the cable. So we're gonna tear into her, see if she does indeed have another run.